Hello and welcome to episode 2 of The Last 7, Newport-based podcast, coming from sunny Newport, sunny my ass. It's June now and it's still pissing down outside.
It's alright for some though, because I'm going away to Greece.
Where the weather is just as shit.
Yeah. Actually it is.
Yeah.
But surely anything will be better than here though, right?
No, yeah, definitely.
No.
It's been absolutely horrible. We had like 2 sunny days last week. I don't want this to turn into a geriatric podcast, so first things first, massive thank you to everybody who listened to the first episode. I was going to be happy with 1 like and I think it was 10 views.
10 views and 1 like was your aim.
Yeah, and it got, we're up to 94 views and 4 likes actually on YouTube.
Nice.
So, massive thank you to everybody who listened first of all. Got some feedback as well, which we really, really appreciate. Shorter. That was the main thing that came across.
Gist of the
It was
feedback.
an hour and a half long, so we're gonna aim for about an hour-ish. It'll be upsetting if like next week people go shorter, and then we go down to like a half an hour, maybe shorter still, until we just stop, and then they go that's the perfect amount.
Yeah.
What,
So many
Done.
views.
It's the perfect amount.
10 minutes will do you.
One more thing that came out of feedback was the fact that we didn't really introduce ourselves, or say anything about us, so people didn't have that, that deep, meaningful connection.
Intimacy.
So go Tone. Who are you? What?
Right, okay, well...
Who the fuck are you?
Yeah, okay. My name's Antonio, and I'm from an Italian family, obviously, hence the name. I'm not the most intelligent of people, and I think that's why I'm here, to be honest.
No. It's not. Nobody thinks you're stupid amongst us. It's not that at all. It's your outlook on the world is a little bit different. It's just because you're not stupid
It's
at all.
It's different because it's a little bit less educated.
I don't even think
more...
that's the case, man. No, it's just you think of things a bit. The way you analyse things is just a load different.
Yeah.
So that's why we ask, is because you've an opinion on anything, even though current affairs is just not your bag whatsoever. You don't watch the news. You hate sort of modern bands and most modern music, most modern bands.
Oh, I'm quite old-fashioned for my age.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's it. I think because as soon as something new comes out, you go, something else I'm going to be asked about now.
Yeah.
So that's why you're here, man. That's why a question of tone is there. What do you do for a living?
A lot of people would say that I'm a greengrocer, but no, I'm a performer and theatre maker, part of a theatre company
Called
Tin Shed Theatre.
Oh God, they're so good.
Are they amazing? Aren't they?
Yeah, I've heard great things.
Justin, what do you do for a living?
I work for the same greengrocer that Tone does. No, I'm also part of Tin Shed Theatre Company, yeah. I'm from Shropshire, came to Newport to do university, met Dan, met Antonio, did university, stayed, and now I'm here.
My great-grandparents were shepherds. My dad knew them.
Yeah.
They were like, because I've seen photos and my dad tells me about...
This is bollocks.
They were.
Really?
Well, yeah, most people were.
I thought we were just going off on a tangent of bollocks.
Most people were. Well, he was more like a goat herder. It was goats.
Yeah, right, okay. Is it called a shepherd if it's a goat? No, you're a goat herd.
I don't know. They would have just been. They wouldn't have really had a name in Italy back in the south of Italy in those times. Most people were.
Goat herders. Was no one a goat butcher or a goat cheese maker? Why all these people making goats? And they're going, no one's buying our goats, guys. Why don't a few of us just try being something different? No way.
Goat herds don't make goats. My name's Dan. I'm originally from St Athan, and I moved to Newport 8 years ago to go to uni. It's where I met you two fine chaps. Now I work at a place called the Kaleidoscope Project, which is a substance misuse treatment clinic. And that's pretty much it. I think everybody knows enough about us, so we should carry on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Justin, what's the best thing that's happened to you this week?
It's about my bowels, Dan. Since the Eurovision Song Contest, which is way over like 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 weeks ago, I think probably 3 weeks ago, I have not had a decent poo. It's been unpleasant to say the least. And Ken sort of semi-convinced me that I had worms for a good 3 days.
God.
So today, the best thing that's happened to me, well, yesterday actually, I had a good, decent poo. Whenever I do a really good shit, I take a photograph of it and send it to my mate Ben.
There have been...
and he hates it. He hates it.
Does he?
Yeah, he opens his phone up and there it is, like white porcelain, which is a big brown smudge in the middle, and he hates it.
When we went to Centre Parks a couple of years ago, you did a poo that was so gargantuan, it merited calling all of us in from the living area and having a look. To our eternal credit, we all ran in and had a look. It was ridiculous. If I can describe it, it was already through the water and in the U-bend, and then most of it sticking out of the water, and then just sort of leaning back on the side of the bowl in one go. I don't know how you were walking with that inside you.
I had to call you in. It was literally that situation where I know it just seems so typical and male, but I looked in the toilet, and because I knew it was big, but I didn't know it was that big. I didn't know it was round the U-bend and out the water. It was enormous. It was enormous, and I thought, I can't just get rid of this without sharing it. That's the only time I've really felt like that. But then I had to chop it up with the lube brush and push it down with a plastic bag over my hand. So the story has a sour ending.
For you, perhaps. I was happy to have seen it. What's the worst thing that's happened to you in the last 7 days?
Right, I had this all lined up because I've been, been anticipating this, recording this, and I've been thinking about all the things. So I got a train home on Monday evening, and I was working on my computer Tuesday morning, or I was supposed to be. And I got off the train Monday night, 9:30. Got off the train, went through the barriers, walked out the front door, saw my brother waiting in his car to pick me up, realised I'd left my suitcase with my computer in it on the train, fucking turned around, ran, did the turnstile, ran up the stairs, and the train was going, and I was like, fuck, just on the platform, went into the office, and I went, look, I've just left my, computer and my suitcase on the train. Thought that was going to be the worst thing I was going to tell you. There's no point in going into details. It was a nightmare getting it back, but I got it back. But after getting it back, I got on the train and I was sat one row behind 8 men on the 4-seaters who were getting pissed on the way to Cardiff, and it was the fucking worst thing that happened to me this week. I would happily lose my computer over and over and over again to never have to sit behind those men. And there's nothing wrong with them, but they were just annoying as
Worst thing that happened to me this week, I went into Asda to buy to get some shopping, and also bought the Viz magazine. You've read the Viz?
Yes.
Tony, you've read the Viz?
Only of what you've read to me.
Oh,
It's read to me. Before you tucked him in at night.
For anybody who doesn't know, it's an adult comic book, and even when I say it like that, it kind of leaks into the story. It's a comic book, but with sort of swearing in it. Characters include spoiled bastard, drunken bakers, Terry fuckwit. It's decent. I went there, went to the counter, and the woman went bloop, and it didn't come up. And she looked at it, and it had, this particular edition had Pippa Middleton's Arse's Guide to the World Cup in Brazil. Steeped in irony. But she looked at it and she went, no, and shot me the worst look.
Really?
Yeah, I went, what's going on? She went, oh no, it's just a bit, 320 for this rubbish. And I said, no, it's ironic and stuff. She went, Pippa Middleton's ass. I said, no, it's a joke. It's a joke. No, if you read it, it's a funny magazine. There's fake letters and whatnot. And then she went to type it in because nobody was coming. She went to type it in, and she put dirty magazine.
No.
Into the thing, and I went, definitely not. Yeah, typed it. And she went, oh, please. I said, you should have a read. I'm not a pervert. And just all walked away shouting, no, it's not porn. It's not porn, it's a cartoon, it's for children. Not children! Oh God! Excuse me, mate, can you leave? So, what's the best thing that's happened to you this week?
The best thing that's happened to me this week is, because at the moment we're doing a bit of research and development for our next production, and it's going to be about old people. Mm-hmm. And I visited a group called the University of the Third Age, which is an organisation where the elderly can go to and take up new skills.
That's awesome.
And they can do crafts. They can learn French. They can learn how to play instruments. They can do singing, dance. They do history. They do all sorts of things.
History. They were there for a lot of it.
They've got they've got all these different sessions that happen in different rooms all at the same time. And I went there so that I could sit down and talk to a few of them, ask them a couple of questions, and get some inspiration for this new production we're working on. And it was a really great experience because I walked into a room, 20 old ladies sat around a square table.
I bet they loved you. I bet they I bet they were
Oh, they
feeling
did.
stirred in those women
Oh,
that haven't
yes.
stirred for years when you walked
yes.
in.
Yeah, I'll get to that now. So I walked to the door, and there were these 20 old women, all sat round the table, all knitting. And as I walked through the door, it was like I don't know, just something disgusting had just walked in the room. Just that they were all so shocked. They all lifted their heads at the same time. It was like I'd walked into like a den of like a load of meerkats, and they all just turned around, and they were all there with their hands down, like in the middle of like knitting, and they all looked up and they went, "Ooh!" And then the woman that was leading the group went, "Oh, who's this then?" And the lady that brought me into the room introduced me and said, "This is Antonio, and he's from a local theatre company. And
Take him off!
He's interested. He's interested in
Show us your
speaking
bollocks!"
to you." Yeah. He's interested to speaking to you young ladies about
Not patronising in the slightest. Then this woman that was running the knitting.
yeah. So she introduced me, and then so I walked up in closer, and I was like, "Hi, everyone." They were like, good morning, hi," and all this. It was all happening at the same time. All these lovely sweet voices speaking to me, and then as I sat down, they were like. The woman was like, now, ladies, let's all share him. Come on, let's be nice. Let's play nice now.
I'm not sharing.
And
Give me a cock.
But they were like, "Oh, watch yourself now. Don't worry, none of our husbands are here." So it was.
They're dead.
It was quite funny, but I'd say it was the best thing that happened to me, just because it was such a strange, a new environment to be in. That was actually quite nice.
It's been amazing to just spend time with people like older people and yeah.
When did you start wearing older people clothes?
We
Like
don't.
cardigans
Those are
and
the
like
clothes they wore when they were growing
Oh,
up.
bollocks.
Yeah, mate, you got to think
no
of it that way.
chance.
Yeah, what they used to wear
Big
cardigans in the
floral
50s.
blouses and like tan trousers.
Men used to wear cardigans in the 50s with shirt and tie, and they're wearing that now. They're still wearing it. You got to think that's why they wear it, man.
Yeah,
One day
you're right.
when
I
we're
think-
older,
no, I think
we'll
you're
be
right. I
dressed
think
like
I don't
we
think you
dress now.
revert. Yeah, I don't think you revert to old people clothes.
I'm sure. I think you do. Right, we're going to crack on with the first tune from the segment to avoid copyright infringement. Thanks to everybody who sent in music, selected the best ones, and they're going to be played over the course of the next couple of weeks. Probably two or three a week, I reckon. But this first one is from a band called The Bad Joke That Ended Well. This is Rattlesnake Necklace.
Until
That was fucking brilliant.
Yeah, that was
I
awesome.
really like that. There's a song by The Doors called The Wasp, and that middle section of the song
It
really
was like
reminded me of that.
the Cramps, or like with a bit of Tom Waits if they made grunge.
No, whatever it was great. So yeah, the bad
Yeah,
joke that ended well. Bristol-based band. Check them out. They're absolutely awesome. This week in 1835, P.T. Barnum's Circus, the greatest show on earth, starts its first tour of the USA. You heard of P.T. Barnum's Circus?
Greatest show on
Yeah,
earth.
I know. Yeah, P.T.
He
Barnum.
coined the phrase, the greatest show on
Yeah.
earth. That was the name of
Yeah.
his circus. He had Jumbo the elephant, the biggest elephant that anybody had ever seen, or probably the
awesome.
only elephant that a lot of people had ever seen at the time. That's because of Jumbo the elephant. That's why we use the word jumbo to mean
Yeah.
big stuff, like
Yeah.
jumbo jet or just jumbo sausage roll.
Yeah, those are the only two.
This week in 1946, Antonio, was the birth of the Italian Republic.
Oh, right.
King Umberto II is exiled, spent 37 years in exile.
Where did he spend his time in exile?
Herding goats.
This week, of course, in 1944, Friday the 6th of June, D-Day.
Ah, yeah.
So, Normandy beaches, obviously extremely famous, loads of heroic people, kicking some Nazi ass. So, massive props to anybody who was involved in D-Day and is listening to this podcast. I reckon no one. In 1844, this week, the YMCA was formed.
Amazing.
What, the song?
No, I knew as soon as I looked at your
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
Because the
What those
YMCA was formed, you thought the first Village People tribute act 100 or so years before they
Yeah.
came out had been formed. And the first actual YMCA dance was formed. No, the Young Man's Christian Association.
Right.
I'm not sure it had that many affiliations with gay culture back in those days.
No.
Because if you think about it, the YMCA, it's a great and a catchy song. But if you think about somebody saying in 1844, I now open the Young Man's Christian Association.
Yeah.
No bumming.
Yeah, there would be there'd be no spoken about bumming, but there'd be plenty of bumming.
Or if it's just for young men. I suppose that's where it came from. Just loads of young men hanging around doing the things that normal young men do. Activities and reading. What else do they do? I don't know, but it involves a lot of creaking. Exercise.
Bed exercise.
Exercise. And they exercise hard. Harder, I hear them say. Harder, harder, harder. They work up quite a sweat.
Yeah.
It certainly smells that way anyway. That can come.
So is that why they named the song YMCA? Were they purposely being?
No, it's about
controversial?
the YMCA, but a YMCA in like a city is just somewhere where you can go. Well, you can have a good meal. You can do whatever you feel.
Yeah.
It's actually quite fun to stay at the
YMCA.
YMCA.
Did they make it gay, or did they sing about it because it was a bit gay already?
I
We'll
get-
never know.
No, we've missed that. There's probably a good story about it,
Yeah.
but I think our generation has kind of missed that.
Yeah.
Did the Village People make the YMCA gay, or was it gay first?
One time in this podcast, we talked about nominative determinism.
That's right.
Yeah, and I was reading in the Metro the other day on the train, and there was an article weirdly about nominative determinism. It was about a guy called Andrew Apothecary, right? So his initial and his name spells Mr. Apothecary, and he is a chemist in Cornwall. So this whole idea fascinated me. So what I've done is I found some names that are examples of nominative determinism.
Brilliant.
I'm going to read you the names, and you have to tell me what you think their job is. Okay, so the first one, Igor Judge.
A judge.
I thought I'd start off on an easy one, but yes. Yeah. On that related article, there was a police officer who was called Law Power.
No.
Wow.
Yeah. Police
Loved it.
commissioner.
PC
It's like a
power.
really
Yeah.
cheap comic book here.
Yeah,
right?
Law Power. It is a cheap
Like an in-joke, like the police's official comic
Yeah.
book. PC power.
Yeah.
You there, illegal.
Come here.
Illegal is their baddie. It's like a really sick bird.
Okay. Larry Sprinkle.
He's an ice cream man.
Gardener.
No.
Sprinkle. Oh, sprinklers. I beg your
Yeah.
pardon.
Yeah, that's not bad shout.
Say it
It's
again.
more towards where we're going. Larry Sprinkle.
Cake maker.
No.
Window
No.
cleaner.
It's a bit obscure. I'll give you a clue. It's
Alright.
in the surname. But yeah, think of it as water.
Lifeguard.
No. It's quite obscure. I've started you off with an incredibly easy one, and I've gone to a quite
That's
difficult
that's
one.
horrible.
Okay.
his name again?
Sewage worker.
Larry Sprinkle.
Larry Sprinkle. Ah, fuck, I don't know.
He's a weatherman.
What?
That's shit!
I didn't think that was shit.
At no point has anybody gone, and there's some increasing low pressure from the west and a sprinkle of rain.
Definitely have. That's
No,
definitely
I don't
been used
know.
as
I
a
don't know if it
descriptive
has.
term for
Has it?
rain
I don't
on the
know.
weather.
No way.
I really don't think it has.
Okay,
Sprinkle.
look, that was a weak one. I've got a blinder next. Right?
Is he a blind salesman?
Dr. Richard Chop.
Or he's a doctor?
Yeah. But you've got to get there. What kind of doctor is he? Dr. Richard, think of that. Chop.
He is a specialist in gender reassignment surgery.
Oh,
Dick
nice.
Chop is his name.
Yeah. Dr. Dick Chop, right? And he is a urologist.
Oh.
And he specialises in vasectomies.
Oh,
Wow, that's pretty.
That's
pretty
my
good. That's a
favourite
good
of the
one.
bunch.
That's
of
a good
course it is.
Yeah.
No, it's better than Mr. Sprinkle, whatever it was.
Marina Stepanova.
Is she an athlete?
She is an athlete.
Is she a hurdler?
Yeah! Yeah, she is. She's a hurdler. How brilliant is that? Okay. The last one, number 5. David Pullen.
Florist.
No.
Oh, pollen. That's really good.
Pullen. But
Oh.
yeah, that is good.
To do with
Is he a tow truck driver?
Nope.
Gigolo.
Excellent.
This was my favourite from the famous ones. J.W. Splatt and D. Whedon both collaborated on a book about incontinence.
They are fantastic. That
They're
was
so
brilliant.
good,
So
yeah.
yeah, follow us at The Last 7 on Twitter to give your best imaginary examples of nominative determinism. Win some goodies. Or alternatively, you could email us at thelast7podcast@gmail.com. So this week's hero is Alexander Shulgin. Anybody aware of him?
No.
No.
He died day before yesterday, I think. And he is colloquially known as the godfather of MDMA.
Really?
Bit of an odd choice, you might think. He didn't invent MDMA, it was around a long time beforehand, but
Yeah.
he popularised it and a load of other psychoactive substances as well. He was a really brilliant chemist for a start.
Wow.
Studied at Harvard University, lived in California apart from when he was studying. And he wrote 2 books, one called Pical and one called Tical. Pical stands for phenethylamines I have known and loved. It's a class of psychoactive.
Yeah.
And Tical stands for tryptamines I've known and loved. So hallucinogenic drugs. And he, with his wife Anne, spent their working lives and their twilight years synthesizing different psychoactive compounds and testing them on themselves and their friends. There's great diary entries that they've had when they take sort of a load of MDMA on a long train journey. It's not really about getting off your face, although people will put them on that pedestal now. But without him, we would have very little basis for knowledge and of the structure of all of the, especially nowadays with new psychoactive substances being really, really huge, we would have no sort of text or anything to look back on, really. And he pioneered that, and he died. He was 88, and he died a couple of days ago.
Why?
He was a brilliant, brilliant man. Charitable, friendly, and yeah, just an excellent chemist and a thoroughly good scientist. And then, of course, we come to Cunt of the Week.
Yes.
There was a few choices, actually, this week. The
So many of them out there, mate.
Isn't there always so
many.
many choices?
Justin Bieber, first of all, front page of a couple of papers today, after an N-word slur, and then singing a song with an N-word in it that sort of joked about killing them and joining the KKK and things like that.
Little shit.
Yeah, I know. It's very easy to slag him off, so we should.
What?
Yeah, I'm kind of of that
Oh, I
opinion. I've read
hate
a
him.
lot about don't forget he's a 19-year-old boy who's been thrust into stardom, and he's under the microscope, and everything he does is examined and things like that.
Daniel
But
Radcliffe
there's-
was the same.
But there's good decisions and there's bad decisions.
Yeah, and you know the difference between right and wrong from when you're the age of about, what, 7
Yeah.
or 8? I don't care if you've been pampered and whatnot. You still must have an awareness of the world around you. Being fawned over and taking things to such extremes. He's an asshole. He's one of the only people who charges the Make-A-Wish Foundation. A Delaware County man has been arrested for allegedly stealing more than $350,000 worth of human skin from a Philadelphia hospital for years. Gary Dudek, 54, of Wallingford, Pennsylvania, is charged with theft and tampering with records. According to investigators, Dudek reportedly stole skin grafts from Mercy Philadelphia Hospital between November 2011 and July 2012. So he was ordering loads of skin and then taking it to either get commission or sell it, or, in my opinion, do that Buffalo Bill thing from Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah. He was doing that.
Definitely
But
making a human skin suit.
It's quite a
making
striking
Johnny's
line
album.
of the article, isn't it? For allegedly stealing more than $350,000 worth of skin. Since when did skin have a monetary value?
Maybe
Like,
he was
a monetary value.
Maybe he was
Skin
selling
grafts,
it
isn't it?
to,
So like you'd order them in, you'd order like big sheets of fake skin. And
Yeah, I see that now. So when you read the rest of the article, I understood.
one more candidate for cunt of the week. It's headed, a dude trying to ban abortions is asked a question he'd never considered. So yeah, it's not a really written article, but the video speaks for itself. This is State Representative Jim Bushy, or Jim Bushy, B-U-C-H-Y, from Ohio, and he's the co-sponsor of the Heartbeat Abortion Ban Lobby. And they would want to ban abortions for everybody, no legalized abortion. So he's being interviewed, and he's talking about the expense of abortion. He's talking obviously about the sanctity of life and that life begins at conception. And then the female interviewer asks him, after he gives a lot of tripe about abortion and how women feel, asks him, why do you think a woman would get an abortion? And he can't answer it. And he actually says, that's not a question I've even considered, because I'm not a woman.
Oh my god.
And he's the co-sponsor of the Heartbeat Abortion Ban.
If that's his
Oh
opinion,
my
then
God.
why the fuck is he
Oh
even
my
involved
God.
in this fucking organisation? For what benefit is this man involved in this organisation if he doesn't actually care about looking into fucking women's opinion on the fucking subject, when it's women who are directly what a fucking cunt.
Christian!
Yeah.
I think he's got his ideas from
damn
there.
right.
And that's
Do you know
pretty...
what a cunt? He's the cunt of the week, mate.
Okay, Representative Bushy, you are this week's Cunt of the Week.
Honourable cunt.
Tone, a little bit tells me that you've made a bucket list.
Yes.
Can we see it?
Oh yeah.
Can I have a look quickly?
Yeah, you can have a look at that.
We're going to read it, and obviously we'll splice it together
I'm
so it
I'm
sounds...
sure there'll be more.
The first one's amazing.
To cycle around as much of the British coast as I can.
Different trips? You going to try and do it all in one go for charity?
Yeah, not all in one go. Like, you know, I'll get on a train somewhere with my bike,
Yeah.
like to a coastal town. The idea is that, and then I would get on my bike and I would just cycle all around the coast, just follow the roads that go on the you know, coast edge.
That's a beautiful thought.
As for as long as
inspired
I
you to
can
do
go
that?
for until I run out of money and have to go back home on the train, and then another.
This is an ill thought out bucket list thing, isn't it? I like. So is that why you end the thing with as much of the British coast as I can?
Well, yeah, because it all depends on how long I can last. Because obviously the idea is that every now and again I can stay in like the odd B&B just to charge up my phone and all that kind of stuff. But the idea is that I'll mainly camp. I'll just cycle up somewhere with my backpack. I'll have my tent in my backpack. Get my tent out, camp, and then
That's
for a
brilliant.
bit, and then carry on and just keep going until I can't afford to do it anymore. Go back home on the train. Always make sure you've got enough money to get back home on the train, and then try it again when I've next got a bit more money.
Nice.
So I
I've
think
always
that's
wanted to
absolutely
do it.
brilliant. That's amazing. That was number one. Number two, to go to Stonehenge for my birthday, as it's the summer solstice. The 21st of June is your birthday. Yeah, of course it is. That's right.
Yeah.
Is it? Can you even get up close to it now? Is it not sort of
No.
private
No,
property?
I don't think you can now because they've made a mess of it every time they went there for the summer solstice.
Bloody hippies,
Loads of
but it's
hippies
full
and
of
druids
firewood
just-
and incense and bloody ganja smoke coming out the drug
buggering it
ends.
up,
Yeah.
you know, writing stuff on the stones and that, innit?
Bloody
Yeah.
hippies.
They've ruined it for me now. I'm never going
they
to get
have,
to experience
they have.
that, even though I deserve it. I have a right to it because it's on my birthday.
Yeah.
Sons of a bitches. Druids.
Number three, visit India.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I
You
think
just,
that'd
you
be
just
on
like to
mine.
go.
Really want to go?
All right. Number four, travel the southern Italian coast in a camper.
So similar to the British
But
coast.
yeah, I'm
But
not
you're
willing to
taking it
cycle
more
it.
easy,
It'll be
yeah.
too hot, won't
I
it?
don't know my way around Italy, so
Yeah.
a camper van in the south would be important.
Different, innit?
Number five, see the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis
Yeah, from a plane.
from a plane.
Yeah, actually, because you can do like little plane trips, can't you? That take you right over it, don't you?
Yeah.
I've heard about
No,
that.
you certainly do. I think
But I would like to see it. I like to see it from the ground as well. Obviously, just see it.
you can see him from Sweden. We can go to
You
Sweden.
could see it. You could see it from Shropshire a couple of months ago.
Oh no way!
2 months ago.
Fuck off.
Yeah. Apparently, the guys I work with in Shropshire, they were telling me that they could see it, like just see the colour. in
Yeah,
the
I really
sky.
want to go. I'd love to camp near it actually.
This is brilliant. Number 6. Eat fresh fish / the catch of the day on a boat in the middle of the ocean.
I've always wanted to do that.
That's really cool.
I just love fish so much.
God.
We
I
can do
think
that. We
I'll
can save
enjoy
up
it.
and rent a
So
home.
do that for you, man.
I enjoy it
It's
more.
easy. All of these, what I like about them, all of them are so easy and humble and just.
Hold on. No, the next one is really, but no, these are all fine. These are all great. I'm jealous. Like I probably try and be like funny or something like that, but these are really good. I'm disappointed. Number 7, learn how to make my own olive oil.
Yeah,
That's
it's a nice one.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, because I use a lot of it, and I thought it'd be handy. It'd be nice to know that I'm
Do you
making
not just squeeze olives?
Huh? I'm not. Yeah, I think they press them, but I need to know how long you have to. When you have to pick them. How.
Yeah, because I know
need to
they
know
can't
all
be
the
ripe
details.
olives because
Can't be
those
as
are the
simple as-
gungy ones you eat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
can't
right.
be as simple as just get a load of olives, chuck them in a bucket, and press them, and.
I don't know. I think it might be. Build my own stone brick oven in the back garden to cook pizzas. So much food. So you've gone for the travelling. I'll be hungry after all that cycling.
Yeah.
Apparently, you can. An Irish person was telling me that her boyfriend made his own,
Yeah.
and they're really quite easy to make, and they're lush once you make them.
You just, like, build
can
a
cook
sort
all
of-
sorts of stuff in them. But for me, it's about being able to make pizza, like in the,
Yeah. Of course it is.
That's grand. So we've gone for food, and now for a bit of culture. I think.
Holy shit! That next one.
Spend a whole day watching the entire extended edition of the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Oh my.
Yeah, so I've always wanted to do
They
that.
are
Get it really early in the
shit.
morning, like 4 o'clock in the
God,
morning.
They're fucking.
They're horrible and long. How long are the extended versions?
Well, the first one is about 2 hours and 50 minutes.
Oh,
The second one is 3 hours and 20 or something.
oh.
Yeah, and the third one is 3 hours and 55 or 3 hours and 50 minutes long.
Nearly 4 hours long.
Yeah.
So, well, in fairness though, you wouldn't. Are you going to watch them back to back? Are you just going to?
And once I'm
you
done-
you've said here, spend the whole day watching it.
Well, I'd have
So
to
you'd
get up at
repeat
like
them.
2 in the morning because once I've watched all the films, I'm going to then go back and watch all the special features on all the.
Oh. Can you imagine when you do that? Especially if you do this in order, and you get to like halfway through the second film, and you go, "Oh yeah, this was great." Oh, I was cycling around Italy a couple of months ago.
yeah.
No, I was in a camper van around Italy, and I was cycling. Just by where was I? Cornish coast. Oh, that was better. Wind in my hair, big beard, and I had to get the train home.
Because I didn't.
Still
have
though,
enough money.
Schmiegel. Oh! Focused on death. Again, I just think it's the best subject because nobody knows about it. But there's a lot of things you can decide beforehand, like your bucket list. You want to do those things before you pop your clogs. And people often talk about their best funeral song. And there's a couple of really popular ones. One is the countdown theme. Always look on the bright side of life.
Yeah.
Monty Python is like the most popular one and always will be.
Yeah.
But I think instead of asking people what their funeral song would be, mine would be "Drink to the Dead" by Clutch, I think. What would be the most inappropriate funeral song, do you think?
Well, my funeral song I think is pretty inappropriate.
What is it?
Highway to Hell, AC/DC.
In a church.
Yeah, damn right. As I'm going into the fiery inferno, I just want them to. Everyone rises up.
I'm hoping to make, because I've made plans for the end and whatnot, I'm hoping to make like a lovely little video for people, either to say that I'm going to haunt them if they believe in that sort of stuff, or just so that I don't want somebody clogging up my own funeral. Like that's my last chance to be a pain in the ass for everybody.
Yeah.
So request a coffin with spikes at the bottom. People holding it, it's like, oh, you fucking.
You're gonna get buried.
Just get no, I'll probably be cremated. No, I'm going to leave my body to science. So whatever happens, will
That's
be
a good idea.
Yeah, definitely.
I
Don't just open us up and go, for fuck's sake, what a waste.
I don't like the idea of being put in a box because I think, well, I haven't spent my life in a box. Why the hell have I all of a sudden got to be put in
So you
one?
want to be propped up at home?
No. I
Next
just
to your
want to be.
missus.
I want to be in one of those eco-friendly
Boxes?
wicker coffins
Yeah, wicker,
where
we can get
rot, so I can
cardboard.
rot into the earth.
My
Have you
auntie
spent
was
your
very
life in
for that.
Wicker? Have you? Or?
Well, no, but you just rot into the earth, don't you? Become part of the circle
Yeah,
of
as
life.
you would with
That's
the,
what
as
I
you would
like
with
the
the wood.
idea of that.
The wood would biodegrade.
Or I wouldn't mind being thrown into the ocean, but not ashes.
Just whole. Yeah,
Yeah.
just one bit.
Just
put
on
in
the
there.
beach as
Brilliant.
well.
You just keep getting washed
Yeah,
up. And
they'll
it just,
take him out. Eventually, they'll take him out.
Well, I don't
Just
want to
children,
be burnt.
just head in their hands, crying. Sandcastle gently being knocked down by a cold white arm, just as the tide gently laps your arm
oh,
up onto
Jesus
the shore.
Christ.
I want a tree to be planted for me or something. You know?
Yeah.
Something to be planted.
What about that mushroom suit I told you about?
That's brilliant. Yeah, that's
Where you,
awesome.
but you have a suit put on you when you're dead, and it's got mushroom spores in it, so that when you
Oh right.
Yeah, when
creepy as hell. But,
but that's if you really want to be into the earth, mate. They live off you. You're then a
crazy.
definitive living organism. Now we always will be. Neil deGrasse Tyson gave the best answer. He's a astrophysicist and a well-known atheist. He's done a new series of Cosmos that was originally done by Carl Sagan in the 70s.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And somebody asked him, a classic, he said, "What do you think happens when you die?" And he said, "When I die, I'm going to be put into the earth, and my body will give sustenance to the flora and fauna that has sustained me throughout my life."
Yeah.
And that was it. Because it's not even a case, it's not being reductive and going, you just go in the ground and you rot. He just had the perfect explanation for
Yeah.
it. It was absolutely amazing. I think it was Carl Sagan who talked about us all being made of stardust. The atoms that make us were formed in stars billions of years ago, billions of light years away. Alright, the next tune from the segment to avoid copyright infringement. This comes from a Barry-based band called Juggernaut, and the tune is In Plain Sight. Take it away.
There's a monster inside both of you. To be fair, there's even a monster inside of me.
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. That is nothing but textbook garbage.
Why that?
What I'm telling you, doctor, is that a real monster does exist. The monster. I get all that.
That's interesting. Get the monster. The monster. The monster.
Way down by war and the daily death toll. I talk ready and walk steady, my head's heavy. I step slow, yet often speak at pace. Don't accept the constraints of time, so there isn't any to waste. The displaced masses seek refuge and solace. Gotta pay the levy, so come on, empty your wallets. They promise us safety, but how much will it cost us? Required responses whenever we're prompted. The monsters are amongst us and they feed on us daily. We willingly accept a lot, although the lot's crazy. Made to be man in their mind's eye, kept in the shadows, then we're cut from the vine. The monsters are amongst us and they feed on us daily. We willingly accept a lot, although the lot's crazy. Maybe you can see them, maybe you can't. They hide in plain sight, come alive in the dark. All who see them need to rise up and cry when they see lies. Step away from the production line. No deprivation, no starvation, no poverty, no season, no charity. Just cause it's a novelty, abolish nonsense. And all those who speak it, it's a weakness to accept falsehoods to creep in. A factual future, an actual chance. A true dialectic, only truths will advance.
It's wasting in the darkness, waiting for someone to awaken it. It's not imagined.
A factual future, an actual chance. A true dialectic, only truths will advance. A realistic vision we can shape with our hands. And always acknowledge nature laid waste to our best made plans. Monsters are amongst us and they feed on us daily. We willingly accept a lot, although the lot's crazy. Made to be man in their mind's eye, kept in the shadows, then we're cut from the vine. The monsters are amongst us and they feed on us daily. We willingly accept a lot, although the lot's crazy. Maybe you can see them, maybe you can't. They hide in plain sight, come alive in the dark. Past parchment offers currency, just a promissory note. A promise you can change it or the solitary vote. Systems of control ingrained in every institution. We highlight the problems, but where's the resolution? The rights we have inherent, yet not everybody use them. Those who speak up get shut up, just a nuisance. This physical existence, only one wavelength or frequency. Consensual reality we all construct equally. We're no more mankind than we are human beings. Don't accept all you're told or believe what you're seeing. A factual future, an actual chance. A factual future, crazy. Means to be man in their mind's eye. Kept in the shadows, then we're cut from the vine. The monsters are amongst us, they feed on us daily. We willingly accept all the whole of the lot's crazy. Maybe you can see them, maybe you can't. They hide in plain sight, come alive in the dark. The monsters are amongst us and they feed on us daily. We willingly accept all the whole of the lot's crazy. Means to be man in their mind's eye. Kept in the shadows, then we're cut from the vine. The monsters are amongst us, they feed on us daily. We willingly accept all the whole of the lot's crazy. Maybe you can see them, maybe you can't. They hide in plain sight, come alive in the dark.
Alright, In Plain Sight by Juggernaut. That's from their 2012 demo. Plenty of new stuff available. You can follow them at Twitter at Juggernaut. That's Juggannote. Absolutely brilliant. Good boys too. So shaved guinea pigs look like little hippos. Do you know that?
Yeah,
What
I've
is
seen. Yeah.
Somebody sent me a picture on Tinterweb of what I thought was a little hippo.
Yeah.
And it was somebody who shaved a guinea pig.
Oh, no way.
Check it out. Definitely going to chuck a picture up because they're really cute
Yeah,
as
I've
well.
seen it, man.
This week, police were called to the house of two Edinburgh men a year after they supposedly committed a crime. Why would they wait a year, you ask? A year ago, these two lads saw the Google Maps camera car coming down the street, and one of them pretended to murder the other one.
Oh my god.
It was all caught on camera, and then a year later, the coppers came to the house to question her about this fake murder. Apparently, the coppers were really cool about it, and the guy who was the idea master behind it said, "Some people show their asses to the Google car. We thought we'd be more classy."
Yeah, nice and
Staged a
classy.
murder.
Nudity. Murder.
This week I saw blueprints and I saw an artist rendering of the floating cities. Have you seen them?
No.
In order to cope with population boom, housing crisis, a company called AT Design have designed this floating city. It's all hexagonal and triangular shapes, all fitted together, and it's where people are going to live in the future.
Ah, fuck that.
So they reckon.
I hate
They've got-
all this future stuff,
They've
mate.
got vertical farms, so they make
No.
proper use of the space. A hexagon is it's sort of the best shape in order to utilise all of the space inside it. That's why honeycomb is
Right.
hexagonal shaped. But what do you mean you hate all the future shit?
I just don't like it, man. I don't like that there's gonna be that people are gonna populate Mars. I don't like that there's gonna be floaty fucking
What?
what?
You don't like?
Well,
I
he's
told
read,
you about
he's
this.
read
There's
something
people
about
gonna
it. It's
populate Mars.
genuine.
There's people
Planning
gonna
on.
populate Mars, mate.
All
I've
right.
got the paper in my bag. You want to see it?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
It's a genuine plan.
We're gonna go for a question of tone. You ready?
Oh right. Oh god. Okay.
I haven't got the paper that's in.
Every time you bring it up, there's a question of tone. I always sound nervous, don't I?
Yeah, you do.
I do.
Again, if anybody wants to send in questions for Antonio for the segment, a question of tone, you can follow us at The Last 7 on Twitter or email thelast7podcast@gmail.com. All right, this is the section of the show where I ask Tone a question that has been posed by our faithful 93 listeners.
Nice.
One of them. A question of Tone this week comes from Jeremy in Manchester. Really glad that we had a guy called Jeremy email in.
it's pretty cool.
I was hoping Jeremy Carr might email in because I've emailed him a couple of times, but they're pretty abusive, so I don't think he's going to come on. I wanted to interview him and ask questions, the hard-hitting questions like, how the fuck do you sleep at night? But no, a question of Tone. Antonio, if you could go back to any point in your life, where would you go and why?
Nice, Jeremy.
Oh, that's a really
Well done,
good
Jeremy.
question. But I think I would go back to when I was in probably about year 5 or year 6.
Nice, pretty
of
young.
primary school. Playing outside with my mates, having a mud fight, like on the mud mounds.
On the mud mounds.
Yeah, when I was growing up in my village, it used to have a very few houses, and they were doing a lot of building. They were building a lot of new houses when I was growing up. So there used to be loads of just like mounds of dirt for kids to play on, and we used to have no, they weren't there for us to play on, but we used to have like massive epic mud fights with like all the kids in the village, just like massive mud fights, and
Jesus
it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
I'd like
So
to give
what,
that a
you
go.
just go back there because it was a lot of fun?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and I probably could come up with all sorts of answers.
No, that's the point of a question of tone, mate. It's about how you're feeling in the moment.
Place
That's
I'd like
fine.
to go back, but
I wouldn't go back that far. I'd go back to the first year of university when I had sex with an older lady, and it was amazing. The best night of my life.
That's so much
You'd
better
go back
than
to
mine.
that specific night.
I'd go back to that specific night and I'd do that again.
Well, what happens then? I mean, I know Jeremy hasn't given us much detail here.
No.
But what happens then?
You
You
said,
just nip back that one experience and then come back.
yeah, as soon as that experience finished, then you come back
Oh.
to the present moment.
Well, you've chosen.
I chose a
dud.
crap one then, haven't I?
No, well, that's the thing. You got to think about it in the moment. I was thinking about it since I read the email, and I thought that would definitely be it. Which is sad in a few ways, but not, because it's the thing I think about most when I'm going to sleep at night, and that gets me off. To sleep. Excellent job, Tone. Well done, Jeremy. So yeah, anybody got any deep philosophical questions for Antonio that might end up with him completely disproving the existence of a god, or reminiscing about an enjoyable mud fight he had when he was 5 years old?
Yeah.
Follow us on Twitter at TheLast7 or email thelast7podcast@gmail.com. It's time for Pseudoscience of the Week, boys.
Nice.
On the topic of mediumship then. So mediumship is the practice of purportedly mediating communication between the spirits of dead people and living human beings. Attempts to contact the dead are documented throughout human history, with mediumship becoming popular in the 19th century. Investigations during this early period and today have revealed widespread fraud, however. Experiments seemingly finding evidence of paranormal activity have been criticised for not establishing thorough test conditions. Mediums use several methods when contacting the dead. Some conduct seances in usually darkened rooms, where, via telekinesis, objects such as tables, chairs, or candlestick holders are moved. But most fit into one of two categories: physical and mental mediumship. Physical mediums tend to go into a trance, varying from very light to very, very deep, and can be fully taken over by the spirit of a dead person. This technique is most famously employed by Derek Acora. This truly has to be seen to be believed, and you can by looking up the TV show Most Haunted. Mental mediums claim that they tune into the spirit world by listening, sensing, or seeing spirits and symbols. These mediums will be the most familiar to attendees of spiritualist churches and viewers of living TV. It is suggested by many, however, that mediums use trickery and suggestion during their readings as opposed to actually speaking to the dead. The cornerstone of this deception is the technique of cold reading. By assessing a person's body language, age, clothing, gender, religion, race, or ethnicity, a competent cold reader will employ high probability guesses about their subject and quickly pick up on signals as to whether or not their guesses are pointing in the right direction. They will emphasise and reinforce any chance connections that are made, and will quickly move on from any missed guesses. Within cold reading are several techniques designed to validate the medium's skill. The disappearing negative is one of these. Phrases such as, "You didn't come here by train, did you?" to which every answer could be interpreted as true. Shotgunning is another technique. Like a shotgun cartridge, the medium will fire a cluster of small, very general information at the subject, or often to an entire audience, some of which is likely to be correct, or at the very least provocative to somebody who's there. I see a heart problem with a father figure in your family, a father or a grandfather, an uncle or a cousin. I'm definitely seeing chest pain somewhere. Chest pain is, of course, a symptom of many ailments. Barnum statements, another technique, rely somewhat on the eagerness of people to make connections between themselves and the medium. These statements seem personal, but are in fact very general. Things like, "I sense you are sometimes insecure, especially with people you don't know," or "You're currently having a problem with a friend or relative," are very commonly used. Many performers are quite honest about their use of cold reading, This is after they receive acclaim and applause from an audience. Lynn Kelly, Ian Rowland and Derren Brown to name a few. Whereas supposed genuine mediums maintain that they have a real connection with the spirit world. The proof of this, unfortunately, lies with their audience, a group of usually grieving relatives of at least one deceased loved person. The empirical evidence for mediumship is distinctly underwhelming. Hearsay, conjecture, and personal testimonies are the only cards it has to play, and it does so very poorly. Professional mediums charge vast sums of money for public and private readings, and many have questioned whether these readings actually provide the closure that the grieving so want or need. By keeping channels of communication open with dead relatives, the grieving process is rarely finished. The eternal desire to hear from loved ones and to believe that death is not the end provides the platform for mediumship, but it is on the conscience of individual practitioners whether or not they're comfortable charging the vulnerable for information they already know and dressing it up as paranormal skill. Mediumship is bollocks. I tell you what, I got so angry writing it. I don't think it's as good as the homeopathy one, because I got so annoyed writing down being objective and writing down what mediums say that they actually do, tuning in, spirit world and things like that. And first of all, I hate it when people start off using terms that they can't define. So they say, oh well, I get an energy and a spirit guide. Whoa. What energy? What sort? We know that energy exists in several forms: sound, light, heat, kinetic, potential. So explain yourself. Well, it's the spirit. Explain what a spirit is. Prove that it exists, and I'm on board. Or as we mentioned last week, as we mentioned a couple of weeks ago, no specific information given whatsoever. If somebody could do it, if somebody could properly do it, they'd be famous, and there'd be no need to charge. There'd be no need for investigations. There'd be no need for belief or faith, which is what people show.
I've got mixed views about it really, because I know people who have done it and they've enjoyed the experience and they've enjoyed that opportunity to connect with a loved one that they've lost. But then I think the biggest part of what you said that resonates with me is just that they leave the door open to something which maybe then can't become concluded, which can't conclude because they've left the door open.
They always say that they love them. Nobody ever comes through from hell. Everybody's always happy and lovely. Yeah. There was one called, I think it was Sylvia Brown, and she did telephone readings, psychic telephone readings, and it was like $15 per minute. And she spent the first 5 minutes telling you about your guardian angels and the names, so things you can just make up, and then telling you that your loved ones were happy and that they loved you. Information that you already know because you have that feedback and you have that information from your loved one. Of course they loved you. You really, really miss them.
But this whole deal would just be loads more ethical, and I'd be far more willing to get on board with it if these people didn't charge.
Yeah. And again, some of them don't, and some of them do. But I think that it still causes the same amount of harm.
Yeah,
because it's not. I will go on record as saying this. I don't believe anybody can speak to the dead. We can't work in absolutes, so you can't say that nobody can speak to the dead or that nobody will ever be able to speak to the dead. But I don't believe that anybody can. So I think that they're fakes and they're frauds, and if they don't know they're frauds, they're idiots. They're so far up themselves that they're willing just to take the money, thinking they've got this gift, kidding themselves and everybody else there, and exploiting the grieving who really, really miss somebody. And you give them a glimpse of that person again, only a glimpse, through cold reading or whatever. Some people use a thing called hot reading, which is when they just know, when they ask you to fill out prayer cards beforehand of the name of your loved one, what they died of and what you want to hear, and then hand them in and they just read off that.
When you're grieving over someone, you do tend to sometimes have dreams about them, and those dreams seem really vivid and stuff.
Because in a dream, I'm not sure who said it, but they said the only time you know a dream is ridiculous is when you've woken up. So in the dream, you actually see that person and you can actually interact with them. And you wake up and it might make you sad, but then I don't think it certainly doesn't make...
It is therapeutic though, to be able to dream about people you've lost is quite therapeutic.
I'm sure it is,
It's just a nice gift that the brain gives you, because it's a memory, and then a memory that can feel real. Yeah. So it's a nice thing that we have, and just a natural... I think it's a natural thing that exists to help us through grieving.
That's awesome.
I think that part of the brain is there to help us. I think that part of the brain is there to help us with loss. I really do.
To all the neuroscientists listening, can we confirm if that's true? Because if not, I'm going to go ahead and believe it. So.
But what I think about it, mediumship, is that I can't believe that something as ancient as that is still today happening and people are letting it happen. What I
God,
can't believe is that there isn't a law against it. That it isn't illegal for people to be making money out of something.
That's right.
That there's
Well,
no
do you know
proof
what
for.
the
There's not enough
disclaimer
proof.
is?
Yeah,
Entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
they
just-
put that on the beginning of the TV shows. Oh, the purposes of this broadcast are for purely
Yeah.
entertainment reasons. And you're just like, well, they're not, are they? Because the people who are actually divulging the deeply personal information about a loved one they've lost are not doing it for the purposes of fucking
Yeah.
entertainment.
I
Well,
would
then
not
audiences
consider
need
speaking
to-
to a dead relative, however much I missed them. I would not consider it entertaining.
No.
It's not something you'd finish and you go, "Oh God, I love you and I miss you so much." Well, that was a laugh.
They could have
That
just
was
gone
great
to
crack.
watch
Thank
a
you so much,
musical.
John Edward. Oh man, when I spoke to my granddad about how he died of cancer, I was pissing myself.
Yeah.
He was so funny. Not towards the end, he was quite depressed with it. I like I said before, man, ironically, I don't think there's a more soulless profession, because people sometimes don't know that they're doing it. I genuinely believe that some people think that they can speak to the dead, but I also believe that those people are mentally ill.
Yeah.
And anybody else is a fraud and a fake, and they should be arrested. All right, I want to thank my co-participants again for this week, Mr. Justin Cliff,
Thank you.
Antonio Romola,
Yeah, cheers, mate.
and Peter Farrago. The Last Seven podcast was recorded at Peter's flat, edited at my flat, with additional material by Punra and DJ Alchemy.